Welcome to Kaiju's Corner, your one-stop shop for all your classic kaiju, comic book, and pop culture-related freeform conversations. I'm your host, Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir, and here with, as always, is my co-host, Deadpoolzilla.
What? What are we doing? Oh yeah, this.
Yeah, we're playing, this time around we're gonna be talking about video games. Video games.
I don't know nothing about no video games.
Oh boy. So for those of you who don't know, E3 recently passed a couple weeks ago, and so I want to dedicate a whole episode based around news that caught our attention. Since E3 is basically one of the biggest gaming event biggest event in terms of like gaming culture, because that's when these large video game companies like Activision, Square Enix, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft, they all get together and present their video games that they have planned, or announcements, and show their plans for the next year or so to gain consumer interest and to show off to their investors. And that being said, for E3 2015, we got quite a decent amount of news from all these people, from all these companies, and so we want to go over exactly what, like I mentioned before, caught our interest. So I guess I want it wasn't shown at any of their conferences, but I did want to talk about the new trailer for the upcoming Godzilla game for the PlayStation 4 here in America, which is actually a localized American English version of the second Godzilla game that's coming out in Japan, called Godzilla Versus. So while I know it's kind of confusing, but basically we're getting the first Godzilla game for digital download on the PS3. That's the one where you can only play as Godzilla and single player, and what we're gonna get on the PS4, that's the Godzilla Versus, with all the playable monsters, all these new monsters that didn't show up in the first game, and with multiplayer both offline and online. And so with the new trailer, basically it showed us 3 new monsters that we haven't seen before. One was 68 Anguirus, one was 56 Rodan, and the announcement of a 64 Godzilla.
Yeah. I am more than happy with this.
Yeah, most definitely.
Andreas, actually, you told me... Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I'm just really pleased with all the announcements. Andreas, you just told me all of this before we recorded. And I couldn't be more happier with the roster. I'm actually excited that, we're actually getting Anguirus and because they got shafted. And we've also got Atra, Hedera, so many other characters, mostly from Heisei, and Heisei is my favorite era.
Oh yeah, definitely, because as I've explained to you before, that the first game was based off of the success of the SH Monster Arts figures that were again based off of the Heisei monsters. And the reason why is because basically Bandai was kind of aiming towards the demographic that grew up with the Heisei era, who are now in their mid to late 20s, now with all this expendable cash to purchase that sort of merchandise.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Is this the full roster, or or are there going to be more characters announced?
Unless they make another surprise announcement for 64 after 64 Godzilla. I think this may be the total roster with 22 playable characters, those being Heisei Godzilla, 68 Anguirus, Heisei Mothra, Larva and Adult, 56 Rodan, Heisei Ghidorah, Showa Hedorah, Jet Jaguar, Showa Mechagodzilla, Showa Mechagodzilla 2, Biollante, Mecha King Ghidorah, Batra Larva and Adult, Super Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla, Destroya, Burning Godzilla, Kiryu, Final Wars Gigan, Hollywood Godzilla, aka Godzilla 2014, and 64 Godzilla.
Yeah, it would be crazy, and I wouldn't put it past them to be a late surprise or a DLC even. The Mutos.
That would definitely be interesting. Toho definitely owns the rights to them. Not sure if Bandai has any rights over those characters that Legendary produced. But then again,
they have Legendary Godzilla.
And there have been Bandai-produced games that featured the American Godzilla, two in fact, Godzilla Generations and Godzilla Trading Battle, two games that never came to America.
Unfortunately. So I wouldn't put it past them to be like, you know what, we already got the legendary Godzilla. How about we just put the Mutos in there as DLC, or, you know, in the game itself?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see them tackle those types of characters, considering the majority of these monsters are kind of humanoid in form, and by that I mean, you know, a body with 2 arms, 2 legs. The Mutos, on the other hand, they're kind of different in terms of their body structure, especially with the female Muto.
Yeah, but I feel like even though they're the same species, they would have different fighting styles. Like obviously with the male Muto, you could fly, and it would probably be a little more quicker. Mm-hmm. But with the female Muto, it would be slower, but a lot more sturdier and could take more damage.
Mm-hmm. And I know I just mentioned that I mentioned this, but I guess, I'm really glad that they decided to go with 56 Rodan as opposed to Heisei Rodan. I mean, it's kind of weird considering that's the only monster that appeared in the Heisei series that not have that version of itself. But I guess 56 is, the more popular design. I mean, thank God they went with that, because I love the face. I love how bright red it is. I love how, even in the game itself, its wings look very large and leathery, kind of like Batman's cape, as opposed to, I guess, more the skinnier, more, like, anatomically correct version, or more accurate version in terms of, like, pterodactyls for the Heisei version.
Yeah. Admittedly, I like Showa Rodan over Heisei Rodan anyway. So
the only thing that I really don't like is that they have both they have 74 Mechagodzilla and 75 Mechagodzilla.
What's the difference? Is it just that the head's removed and it's just the little diamond part?
That and Mechagodzilla 2, aka 75 Mechagodzilla, he has the emblem MG2 on his arm. And I think his neck might be a little different, and who knows, maybe he might have slightly different ammo. Maybe he's like slightly stronger or whatever.
That just seems like it would be an alternate costume than an actual character.
Yeah, but hey, if Burning Godzilla is a separate character, then I guess Mechagodzilla 2 is. Now, again, not sure what the point is. I mean, I'm grateful that we have all 3 incarnations of Mechagodzilla in the game. I don't see why we need to have a 4th Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me at all. And here's the other thing: if you're gonna put any character, why not just instead of another Mechagodzilla, how about Titanosaurus? If you wanted to have mention of terror of Mechagodzilla in there, just put Titanosaurus in there. I'd like to play as Titanosaurus again, wouldn't you?
Or heck, just put Showa Gigan, since, you know, at least that's a very different design, even if you make it a clone.
Yeah, Showa Gigan or even Megalon. Or is Jet Jaguar in this game?
Yeah, he is most definitely in that game. And according to the first game, if you play your cards right and you follow a certain amount of conditions, you get, if you play as Godzilla going through the campaign, you can actually shake Jet Jaguar's hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, is he in Versus?
Yeah. Everybody who was in the first game appears in Versus, and then some.
Okay, like my brain like shorted out when I heard when you were going through the list. I forgot about that.
All right, so let's see. On with other news. One that really immediately captured my interest was Rare Replay, which was this collection. For those of you who don't know, Rare was this video game company in the 90s. They were known for all the games that they produced for the Nintendo consoles, like Battletoads, Donkey Kong Country, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Star Fox 64. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Oh, I love Conker's Bad Fur Day. And so they announced that they're going to have this collection of 30 of their games for $30 called Rare Replay. Unfortunately, it's going to be on the Xbox One, which I have no plans of getting. Another announcement that they had was they announced backwards compatibility for the Xbox One. And it's kind of a similar system to what happened with Xbox 360 and how its backwards capabilities with the original Xbox, where it's not so much that all X360 games are playable on the Xbox One, but rather it's kind of a case-by-case business where you have the physical disc. if it happens to be compatible, you place it in the Xbox One, and the Xbox One scans the disc, downloads a digital copy of that game, and using that disc, it will be able to play that digital copy of your 360 game. Kind of overly complicated, but for Xbox One owners, at least now they can enjoy, for now I believe, roughly around 200 available Xbox 360 games for the system.
That actually sounds incredibly awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, when Sony was announced when Sony was asked if they have plans to do the backwards compatibility between PS3 and PS4, they were like, no. So unfortunately, us Sony owners are shit out of luck with that.
So they basically had Consuela be their spokesperson on that.
Yeah. No. You'll buy game again on Xbox, on PlayStation now. Can't we just play the games we already have? No. So yeah, that sucks for us. It's like we have all this huge back catalog of games that we want to play on, like, the latest hardware, just for the sake of conveniency. But that's impossible now, I guess. Well, I don't know, who knows. But for Xbox fans, for Microsoft fans, congratulations on that. Let's see. You mentioned something about Star Wars Battlefront, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you take care of that.
Star Wars Battlefront it's now under EA, which I don't understand because Disney has Lucas Games, like they have LucasArts, and what the hell's going on? Because what I've heard is that it's not a lot of good. You can only go to 4 planets instead of, because Battlefront 2. Have you played Star Wars Battlefront 2?
A little bit, way back when, probably like freshman year of high school.
God, that was such a great game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's not a lot of planets, there's not a lot of maps, and a lot of it's DLC. Hero units aren't as strong as they used to be in-game, and I don't know, like a lot of the stuff EA announced and said that what Battlefront could do instead of what it couldn't do compared to Battlefront 2 is making me go, what? Because in Battlefront 2 you could actually do like a whole conquest of the universe, and they had like 24 planets you could go in any era and conquer. And you could either do, you could play as 4 different factions in different eras. You could go by prequel and play as both Separatist and the Republic, or you could go into original trilogy and play as Empire or Rebellion. But in this, it's only an original trilogy and not as many planets. And I'm hearing a lot of other stuff like the game's very glitchy. It's mind-boggling because I wanted this so badly, and it's not up to par with what we were going to get for this new next-gen system. And the DLC for Death Troopers, I'm interested about, but it feels like I know they're just obviously copying Nazi zombies for Call of Duty, and it's actually kind of funny because this is actually it's Death Troopers is based off of a book that I actually own. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, I wanted this game to be so good, and for all intents and purposes, it could be good. I mean, yeah, it may not have as many maps or whatnot, but the gameplay still might be good. But I don't know. I'm just very leery on this new Battlefront game.
Mm-hmm. And let's see here. Well, there was an announcement from the Sony press conference where they announced that The Last Guardian, a game that's been in development hell since 2009, was back on track and I believe is coming out next year on the PlayStation 4. The Last Guardian was created by the same team, Team Ico, which previously developed both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, both of which are available on the PS3 as a PS Classics collection. And so yeah, they kind of like, after, what was it, like 2009, so it's like 6 years of development, they decided to just switch developers, and now this story about a boy and his giant monster companion now is finally going to come out in the near future. When I first saw that trailer many E3s ago, I was really interested in it. It looked beautiful, And hey, you know, it's kind of a giant monster game, so that immediately caught my attention. And so I'm very happy to finally see this see this game see the light of day and not have it end up become like this vaporware. Let's see. Another announcement was that Sony was going to be developing Shenmue 3, which was the long-awaited sequel to the Shenmue series, because as I believe it was like 2000 or 2001 where the first Shenmue game came out on the Dreamcast, and it was back then it was the most expensive game ever made back then. I believe it was like $50 million, I want to say, back then, so I'm not sure how much that would mean, how much 2001 money would be in 2016, but it was like a very ambitious game, very open world, things progress in real time, there were so many interactive non-NPC characters, and yeah, as I mentioned before, it was part of a planned trilogy, and so the second game, Shenmue 2, came out for the Xbox, the first Xbox, I believe, I want to say in 2005-ish, but even though I've never played the Shenmue games, I have been aware of it because back then I used to be a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, so I would kind of pay attention to what the big Sega franchises were, and Shenmue was always up there among their flagship, most notable franchises, and so I'm sure a lot of people were really excited to hear that Shenmue 3 came up, but there was going to be a Kickstarter. Sony ran a Kickstarter to try to raise $2 million to start up the project, and within 12 hours, those $2 million was raised, making it holding it the record for being the fastest crowdfunded project ever, I believe. But then I guess like the main developer came out and said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be upfront with you. We didn't actually need the $2 million. In fact, Sony, this whole Kickstarter thing was just I guess an experiment to see if there was any fan interest in the game." So now a lot of people are really upset. They're kind of calling this a scam and trying to say, you know, hey, why is it that we have to spend money for a game that we want you to make for us?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It does seem like an all-around dick move that you had to do that, and he's still going to get the $2 million anyway. They're not going to give it back.
And it was like, it definitely raised suspicions right away for those who decided to wait longer than 12 hours to say, hey, wait a minute, the original costed around $50 million. How the heck are they going to make this game based solely on the $2 million that we're donating to you guys? So, you know, who knows if that's going to happen. Let's see, another announcement that was made was a couple of Nintendo games were announced. Sadly enough, all of them were first-party games, so it seemed like there wasn't really that strong of a support for the Wii U in terms of like third-party content. But we had Star Fox Zero for the Wii U. Fans have been asking for a new Star Fox game for years, and now it seems like we're finally getting one.
Yeah, why can't we get a Captain Falcon game?
That'd be really fun. Especially after, funny enough, my friend has a Wii U, and so last time I was at his house, we were playing Mario Kart 8, and he had the downloadable content where he got two F-Zero tracks, which were the two tracks featured in Melee. Those being what was it? I think it was Blue Falcon and Mute City. And so it was really awesome hearing those iconic F-Zero tracks, ba 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 da da ba da ba bum, and like zooming all over these crazy roller coaster style racetracks. I was thinking to myself, why hasn't there been a Wii U or a next gen F-Zero game? But let's see. Anyways, there was also Skylanders. They made a partnership with Nintendo, and they're making a new the fifth entry in the Skylanders franchise. We had Skylanders Giants, Swap Force, Trap Team, and now Superchargers. Where the whole gimmick of this game is that you get to create vehicles.
It's pod racing. It's pod racing for Skylanders.
Right, where you get to create, I don't know, like boats and cars and planes, or maybe it's just cars and planes. And because of their partnership with Nintendo, they get to have both Donkey Kong and Bowser in the game, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Speaking also, I think we forgot to mention Ryu and Roy showing up in Smash Brothers.
That is right. But right before E3 started, it was accidentally leaked and then later confirmed through official trailers that both Ryu from the Street Fighter series and Roy from Fire Emblem, and who previously appeared in Super Smash Brothers Melee, were announced as downloadable characters for Super Smash Brothers, and they were released at the same time that Lucas from Earthbound 3 or Mother 3 and Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He was also released as DLC for the at the same time as the other two characters. And it's a really fun playing as Ryu, because not only can you play him as a traditional Smash Brothers character, but his special moves, not only can he use his special moves like, the standard up B, forward B, down B, but you can also control him like you would in a normal Street Fighter game, where you can do the down forward punch, or like forward down forward punch to do the Shoryuken, or down back kick to do the Tatsumaki Senpyaku, or you can do like back down forward punch to do like a super Hadouken. And it's a lot of fun. And he has for the first time, we have a character that has two final smashes. The Shin Shoryuken and the Shin Hadouken.
Yeah. Big thing with this is that I was really surprised that we're getting Ryu, but Capcom already allowing, Mega Man in the game.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people are still clamoring, why can't we get Master Chief?
Why do they think that?
I don't know. I guess it's Ryu, Mega Man, Pac-Man,
but they're
Mario are all together.
Here's the thing:
Sonic.
Capcom is a third-party company. They've released games before on all different systems. When have you ever seen Master Chief appear in someone else in something that isn't Xbox related?
Exactly. I'm more inclined to believe that we'd see Lara Croft before Master Chief.
Yeah. For anyone who thinks, and there's a possibility that Master Chief can be in Smash Brothers, you're stupid. I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. You're stupid.
He said it, not me.
That's right, and I'll say it again. You're stupid. Anyways, moving on. Nintendo, they announced, I didn't see the trailer, but I've seen like screenshots, little gameplay snippets of Yoshi's Woolly World. Kind of looks like trying to do what they did with Yoshi. Oh, not Yoshi. It was announced last year, so I was kind of disappointed that, okay, the game's still not out, but here's another trailer for it, where it's kind of, it looks very cute and adorable. It's basically, like Yoshi, a Yoshi platforming game with that same yarn aesthetic from like Little Big Planet and Kirby's Epic Yarn. Let's see, there was a 3DS game called Metroid Prime Federation Force, a game that does not feature Samus, doesn't appear to be featuring any sort of exploration of any kind, but rather focus on these generic Federation soldiers, and it's kind of like first-person co-op, going on missions, shooting down monsters on alien planets, and the entire internet threw a shit fit over this game, where they're saying like, this looks nothing like Metroid, it should be called Metroid, this is just a cash-in, oh my...
Oh, I can understand what they're trying to do is that they're trying to expand the world of Metroid outside of Samus.
Yeah.
And that's a honorable goal.
But I guess the problem is that the series has always been about Samus, and that it prided itself on being more than just, first-person shooter. It's just, again, that exploration aspect and the puzzle solving and all that good stuff. I mean, personally, I'm not a big Metroid fan, only because I haven't had a chance to play a good portion of the games. I've only played like Prime 2 and Prime Hunters, but I do kind of but I do sympathize with the hardcore Metroid fans who wanted a true Metroid game. However, not looking at it as Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Alright, I guess looking at it not as a Metroid game, it does look appealing for like if it was called something else. Like I like the chibi looking art style. I like the it kind of looks appealing. Again, having like these multicolored suits and co-oping on a portable system against like giant monsters, and in the gameplay itself, it kind of looks very similar to the Prime games. So there's something, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's again, I understand what they're trying to do here, but I can also sympathize with what the fans are doing. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the YouTube trailer right now, there's like, 7,000 likes and 67,000 dislikes. On top of that, there's already like a petition to try and get this game canceled. Because, petitions always work, right?
Right.
Let's see.
So what do you want to talk about next?
Okay, there were 2 Mario games that were announced. I think there were 3. I can't remember. But there were 2 games that caught my attention. One was Super Mario Maker, which is pretty much kind of like a Mario hack mod that's been out on the internet forever, where people can just make their own Mario levels. Only now it's official, where you get to create your own custom Mario levels and give it different skins, whether it's like the original Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario World or New Super Mario Brothers. So I guess that's pretty cool. And the other one was Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which I believe is the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe it's the 5th in the Mario and Luigi series, because previously we had Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, and now Paper Jam, which features a crossover between these RPG versions of Mario and Luigi, along with Paper Mario from the Paper Mario RPG series. And
so it's like Sonic Generations.
Kind of like that, yeah, where you have two drastically different universes. Like in the trailer itself, you kind of see the Paper Toads, the Paper Koopas. You see Paper Peach and regular Peach interacting with each other, along with Paper Bowser and regular Bowser. So again, this isn't the first time they kind of did the crossover where, like they did, if you want to talk about Generations, in the second game, they had Mario and Luigi teaming up with Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. And so yeah, it's a very interesting crossover that they have here. I'm pretty sure you might dig this, considering you're the crossover guy, DPZ. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I'm sure it will be a really funny game, considering the witty writing of those 2 RPG series.
Yeah. Real quick, because there's a game I want to mention real quick that I'm really interested about, and maybe you've heard of it too, called Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn is basically... it's basically a video game where... You ever played, what's that game? Dungeons and Dragons? No, not Dungeons and Dragons. It's a video game where all your choices lead up to if you live or die. I cannot remember the name of that video game, but think that idea, but for a horror... but think that kind of idea, but for a slasher movie. So the idea is like it's a whole cabin in the woods idea, but every choice you make as these characters depends on if they live or not throughout the game, and you can determine the who lives and who dies each gameplay.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. So let's see. I guess now we're down to the last 2. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm really excited for that game, and I really want to get a PS4 just for that, the Godzilla game. And what we're going to talk about next?
Okay, so I guess now we're going to talk about the 2 biggest announcements. I guess we'll save the big announcement for last, but for now, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, the new trailer that premiered at this year's E3, the game itself was kind of previously announced at last year's E3. DPZ, what were your initial thoughts? I take it you're a fan.
That was my... no shit. God almighty, I love the gameplay, I love the idea of the dual kingdom Keyblades again, and we could make Keyblades into guns and shoot Heartless. I know that sounds really childish of me, but I was like, god damn, that looks cool. And you could even have rides as summon weapons. Like, you could actually use the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad as an attack, and the teacups. I was like, damn, you're going all out on this one, ain't you?
Was it the Big Thunder ride, or what? Because I thought it was Casey Jr. from Dumbo, and it looks like we're suffering from really bad lag, so apologies, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll try to deal with this since we're almost done.
Yeah, no, it was the Teacups and Thunder Mountain Railroad. At least that's what I think it was, but yeah, it looks like we can get that. Another major thing was that looks like Tangled's going to be, the Tangled movie is going to this universe. I'm not the biggest fan of Tangled. I think it's alright, but hey, new world. How much of it Frozen's going to be named?
Oh, most certainly that game is going to be in. I mean, after the loads upon loads of money that movie made, I would love to see it. However, I think it would make a lot more sense to see Big Hero 6 in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I want a Elf.
Oh, but imagine, like, Sora teaming up with, like, Baymax and the rest of the team. Or imagine, like, Sora having, like, a power-up for that universe where he, Goofy, and Donald were to have, like, similar-looking power armor.
Yeah. There's also talk of Marvel and Star Wars characters showing up in this one. And this one is actually, like, even the creator of Kingdom Hearts said, yeah, we're thinking about that.
Now, only imagine if Disney actually did ended up buying out Toei, and they added Toei into that series, where it's like Sora meets Kamen Rider.
Yeah. But no, just sit on this for a second, Andreas. If that were to happen, if we had Marvel and Star Wars characters in this game, we would have Disney, Final Fantasy, characters all in one cohesive universe.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And you know what I want out of this, in more for Star Wars? I want Darth Maul to be a boss fight in the tournaments.
That would be really interesting.
But yeah, I think in terms of other worlds, you know what world I really want more than Wreck-It Ralph? You remember the Robin Hood movie?
Which Robin Hood movie? Are you referring
with the fox character?
Okay, yeah, I definitely remember that.
The one with the fox. I want world.
Yeah, that would be cool.
There's some picks for you. Inside Hero 6, which one's one?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything at the moment. I'm sure there are some that I will be kicking myself for not thinking about it. I guess off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Roger Rabbit, maybe.
I don't think it could be that one, but cool. The Incredibles.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool if they were to tackle the Pixar movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Life, Toy Story, all those.
So now, I guess to move on to the biggest announcement, the one that rocked the entire video game community's world, and that was for both Xbox One and PS4, but to be available first on PS4, the long-awaited, the game that fans have been asking for since 2005. It is the remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII, dear God, have we been waiting for this? And like I said, this is how the internet, like everyone on the internet, just drops dead and dies.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy VII, I think it came out in 1997 on the original PlayStation 1. It garnered huge reviews. A large majority of RPG fans fell in love with it. A lot of people who probably, like myself, who wasn't even aware of the Final Fantasy franchise, became aware of the series through 7. I'm sure it gained a lot more fans back in 2005 when they had the Advent Children sequel movie and all those spin-offs, prequels, sequels, that compilation of Final Fantasy VII, a cell phone game, anime OVA, PSP prequel, a spin-off series with what's his name, Vincent for the PS2, with Dirge of Cerberus.
Which wasn't that good.
No.
Dirge of Cerberus did. Yeah, Dirge of Cerberus. No.
But Crisis Core, that was really fun on the PSP. So now here it is. We have an HD remake. We've come a long way since the 2005 2005, I want to say, where in 2005 there was a tech demo showing off the graphical capabilities of the PS3, where they recreated the opening title sequence from Final Fantasy VII, and since then people have been saying, oh my god, this looks so wonderful, please let us have a whole game of this. And so from 2005, for 10 years since that tech demo, people have been clamoring for this remake, and now it looks like we're finally having it. My biggest question I had was, are they still going to retain the lighthearted, fun, comedic spirit of that game? Because in recent years, anything that's Final Fantasy related is usually moody and drab and all emo and shit, and doesn't have like any of that fun nature. And luckily, the director of the game said, yes, we will have that scene, and be sure to see cross-dressing Cloud.
Well, Andreas, I hate to burst your bubble, but as fun as it was at its moments.
Yes, it had its moments, but that's what they were, moments. If you look at Cloud, Cloud is basically is nothing like his video game counterpart in the Advent Children movie. In fact, none of the characters, they barely have any that lively personality from that first game.
Yeah, Advent Children, where all we care about is the fight between Cloud and Sephiroth.
That's basically it.
Try to remember anything else out of that movie.
I remembered the dragon, but that was it, story-wise.
Yeah, because all it was to see Cloud and Sephiroth fight again. That was all we were building up to.
Yep, basically.
Yeah. By the way, just real quick, I want to, and this pertains to Kingdom Hearts 2, but this is Final Fantasy as well. Mm-hmm. You know who I want as a boss fight? You know, we've had Sephiroth twice. You know who I want as a boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Let's see. Is it the clown from Final Fantasy 6?
Yeah,
Kefka, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I want Kefka as a boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah, that reminded me, from that trailer we got to see Sora fight the two-headed rock titan from Hercules, and I was super excited about that because I always loved the titans in those games, in that movie.
Yeah. I know in Kingdom Hearts 1 you can fight the Ice Titan and the Rock Titan.
And the Hydra.
The Hydra. I'd like to see the other Titan, like the Lava Titan and the Tornado Titan as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, getting back to
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Words cannot describe how awesome this is. I mean, Sephiroth back in HD glory. All these characters back. It's gonna feel so nostalgic, and at the same time, it's gonna look, it's gonna have some really great game mechanics to it, I believe. Because you've been doing this for you've been waiting 10 years to put this out. Now, just because it's been 10 long years doesn't mean that the game mechanics are gonna work. We've seen this before in multiple games, but I got a really good feeling about this one.
Now, do you think they'll try to update the gameplay, maybe make it like Kingdom Hearts style, real-time fighting system, or do you think they'll stick to that classic turn-based style?
I would believe they're gonna go turn style, but I would not put it past them to do the whole because that's like several Final Fantasy games have been doing recently, if I remember, the whole open world kind of free fighting kind of style. I wouldn't put it past them to do that too.
And even then, we did have some of that free battle, that like free roam battling with Crisis Core on the PSP.
Yeah.
So let's see. It seems like we have finally come to the end of our coverage of all our E3 2015 highlights. We definitely have a lot of games that we're looking forward to. And so, all we can hope for is that these games will turn out good in the end. So, once again, I've been your host, Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
And I've been your co-host, Deadpoolzilla.
And until next time, everybody, take care.